Maya Chen opened her eyes to darkness and rain. Cold water hit her face and ran down her neck. Her body was half buried in thick mud. Every muscle screamed with pain as she tried to move. For a long moment, she just lay there, staring up at a sky that was completely wrong. 3 moons hung above her. 3 moons in a purple sky. This was not Earth. This was not any planet she knew. She pushed herself up slowly. Her head was pounding. The last thing she remembered was working on the engine deck of the UES Constellation. There had been an alarm. Flashing lights. Then nothing. Now she was here. Wherever here was, Maya looked round. She was in some kind of jungle, but nothing about it was familiar. The trees had bark that twisted in spirals like giant screws. Strange mushrooms grew everywhere, glowing with soft blue and green light. The air smelled sweet and rotten at the same time that she checked her body. No serious injuries. Her uniform was torn and dirty, but she was alive. That was something. Then she saw the items lying next to her in the mud. A pistol, a combat knife, and a small metal chip. Maya picked up the pistol first. She checked the magazine with practiced hands. 10 rounds, just 10. She had been a soldier for 12 years, and she knew that 10 rounds was almost nothing. It was enough to make you feel safe. It was not enough to keep you safe. The knife was good quality, sharp, solid. She could work with a knife. The chip was the strangest thing. It was clearly meant to be read, so she pressed the small button on its side. A hologram appeared in the air above it. Words in English, but written strangely, like someone had translated them badly. You are prey. You have until the 3rd moon sets. We are the Vraxith. We have never failed a hunt. Run well, human. It makes the kill sweeter. Maya read the message 3 times. Her heart was beating fast now, but her hands were steady. She had learned a long time ago that panic was useless. Panic got you killed. So someone had taken her. Someone called the Vraxith, and they were going to hunt her like an animal. She stood up and looked at the 3 moons again. One was already low on the horizon. How much time did she have? Hours, days? She did not know. What she did know was this. She was not going to die in this alien mud. Maya had survived too much to die here. She thought about Titan Colony. 3 years ago, she had been part of a small maintenance crew on that frozen moon. A mining company had sent soldiers to kill them all and take the colony. 23 workers against 50 armed men. The fight had lasted 19 days. Maya was the only survivor on either side. She had killed her first man with a welding torch, her last with a piece of broken glass. In between, she had learned things about herself that still gave her nightmares. She had learned that she could do terrible things to stay alive. She had learned that she would not stop, could not stop, until the fight was over. The company had called her a monster. The military had called her a hero. Maya did not care about either word. She only knew one truth. When death came for her, she would make it work for its meal. Now these Vraxith wanted to hunt her. They had given her 10 rounds and a knife. They thought they were being sporting. They thought they were giving the prey a small chance to make the game more fun. They did not know what they had taken. Maya started walking. She needed to learn this jungle. She needed to find water, find food, find anything she could use. 10 rounds would not save her. The knife alone would not save her. But knowledge might. Preparation might. She walked for hours. The rain stopped, started again, stopped once more. She studied everything she saw. The glowing mushrooms seemed to react to touch. When she poked one with a stick, it burst and released a cloud of dust that made her eyes burn. She marked that information in her mind. Weapon. Some of the vines were strong enough to hold her weight. Others snapped at the smallest pressure. She learned which was which. Trap. The river she found was fast and cold. The water tasted strange but did not make her sick. She followed it for a while and found a place where large rocks created a natural hiding spot. Shelter. All the time, she was thinking. Who were the Vraxith? What were they? The answer came when she found the skull. It was hanging from a tree, displayed like a trophy. It was not human. It was larger, with 4 eye sockets and a long jaw full of teeth. But someone had clearly killed this creature and hung its skull here as a message. Maya found more skulls as she walked. Different shapes, different sizes, different species. All of them hung the same way. All of them trophies. She understood now. The Vraxith were hunters, not hunters who killed for food, hunters who killed for sport. They traveled the galaxy, found intelligent creatures, and hunted them for fun. They had been doing this for a long time, maybe thousands of years, and they had never failed. That was what the message had said. They had never failed a hunt. Every creature they had chased, they had killed. Every species they had targeted, they had defeated. Maya looked at the skulls and felt something cold settle in her stomach. Fear, yes, but something else too. Something harder. Anger. These things killed people for entertainment. They took thinking, feeling beings and turned them into trophies. They had done it to hundreds, maybe thousands of species. Now they wanted to do it to her. Maya touched the pistol at her hip. 10 rounds. She thought about how many Vraxith might be hunting her. 5, 10. More, it did not matter. She would learn their patterns. She would study their weaknesses. She would use every trick she had learned in 34 years of hard living. And when the time came, she would show these hunters something they had never seen before. A human who refused to be prey. The first moon set behind the horizon. Maya watched it disappear and made herself a promise. When the third moon set, she would still be alive, and some of the Vraxith would not be. She started building her first trap before the second moon reached its peak. The hunt had begun, but the Vraxith did not know yet that they were not the only hunters in this jungle. They would learn. The first moon had been gone for 6 hours when the Vraxith came down from their ship. There were 5 of them. They stood over 8 feet tall, with scales that shifted color in the dim light. Their eyes were yellow and slit like a snake's. They moved on 2 legs, but hunched forward, their long arms ending in claws that could tear through metal. Huntmaster Kravix led them. He was the oldest and the largest. His scales were dark green, almost black, marked with scars from 100 hunts. On his belt hung small bones from 42 different species, trophies, proof of his kills. The human went north, one of the younger hunters said. He was looking at a device that showed heat trails. She is moving fast, afraid. Kravix made a sound like grinding stones. It was laughter. Good. Fear makes the blood taste better. They started walking. Their thermal visors let them see in the dark. Their armor protected them from the jungle's dangers. They carried plasma rifles that could burn through solid rock. They were perfect hunters. They had always been perfect hunters. The human female would be easy. Kravix had hunted species far more dangerous. He had killed the telepathic Mandari, who could read thoughts. He had killed the armored Korvax, whose shells could stop bullets. A small human with a pistol and a knife. This hunt would be over before the third moon set. They followed her trail through the jungle. She had made no attempt to hide her path. Broken branches, footprints in the mud, disturbed plants. It was the trail of someone running in panic, not thinking clearly. She is heading for the river, another hunter said. Classic prey behavior. They always go for water. Kravix nodded. He had seen it many times. Prey thought water would hide their smell, confuse their trail. It never worked. The Vraxith did not hunt by smell. They had technology that made hiding impossible. They moved faster. The hunt was almost boring when the prey did not put up a fight. Then they found the first trap. It was simple, primitive, a young tree bent back, tied with vine. A trigger made of sticks, a sharpened stake aimed at chest height. One of the younger hunters walked right into it. The stake went through his leg below the knee. He screamed as he fell. The stake had gone through completely, pinning him to the ground. Blood, dark purple, poured from the wound. Kravix stood very still. When had a trap like this last heard of Vraxith hunter? 1,000 years ago? 2,000? They had not seen such primitive tricks in so long that they had forgotten to watch for them. Cut him free, Kravix ordered. We will carry him back to the ship. But as the hunters moved to help their fallen brother, Kravix looked at the trap more carefully. The stake was sharp, very sharp. The human had spent time making it perfect. The vine was tied in a complex knot. This was not the work of someone running in blind panic. He looked at the trail they had been following. The obvious trail. The easy trail. She had wanted them to follow it. Stop, he said. Everyone stopped moving. But it was too late. The ground beneath one of the hunters collapsed. He fell into a pit that the human had dug and covered with leaves. The fall was not far, but the bottom was filled with more sharpened stakes. He did not scream. He was dead before he could make a sound. 3 hunters left, plus the wounded one who could not walk. Kravix felt something he had not felt in decades. He felt uncertain. Miles away, Maya watched them through the thermal visor she had taken from the dead hunter in the pit. She had circled back carefully, moving through the trees, staying away from the ground. Now she could see them standing there, trying to understand what had happened. She allowed herself a small smile. The traps had worked. Tvraxith down, and she had only used 1 bullet. She had needed it to cut the young tree for the spring trap. The knife alone was not enough for that job. 9 rounds left. The Vraxith were not stupid. They would adapt. They would be more careful now. But careful meant slow. Slow meant she had more time. And more time meant more traps. She moved through the jungle like a ghost. She had spent the last several hours learning every dangerous thing about this place. The mushrooms that exploded with toxic dust. The vines that looked strong but broke under weight. The insects that swarmed when their nests were disturbed. This jungle was full of weapons. You just had to know how to use them. As the second moon climbed higher, she prepared her next surprise. The river. The Vraxith would expect her to use the river to hide. They would search along its banks. They would wade into the water looking for her trail. That was exactly what she wanted. She found a place where the river ran fast and deep. The current was strong enough to knock a person off their feet. She waited there, hidden in the shadows, her knife ready. Hours passed. The rain came and went. Her body was cold and tired, but she did not move. She had learned patience in the tunnels of Titan. She had once waited in darkness for 14 hours to kill a single enemy. This was nothing. Finally, one of the hunters came. He was alone. They had split up to cover more ground. Stupid. Overconfident. He thought he was hunting scared prey. He did not expect the prey to be hunting him. The Vraxith waded into the river, his thermal visor scanning the banks. The cold water hid Maya's heat signature. He did not see her until she was already moving. She came from underwater. She grabbed his leg and pulled. The current did the rest. He went under, his heavy armor working against him. By the time he found his footing, she was on his back. Her knife found the gap between his helmet and his neck armor. She had seen that gap when she watched them through the stolen visor. She had been thinking about it for hours. The blade went in. The hunter went down. Maya held him under the water until he stopped moving. Then she took his thermal visor, his communicator, and his plasma rifle. She left the rifle hidden in the rocks. She was not ready to use it yet. Still 9 rounds in her pistol. She had not fired once since the tree trap. Back at their position, Kravix waited for his hunter to report. The report never came. He tried the communicator. Nothing. He checked the life signs monitor on his wrist. 3 lights. Then another hunter gone. Kravix stood in the alien rain and stared at the jungle around him. The darkness felt different now. It felt alive. It felt hungry. For the first time in his long life, Huntmaster Kravix wondered if he had made a mistake. The human female was still out there. She had killed 2 of his best hunters without firing a shot. She was using this jungle as a weapon. She was thinking, planning, adapting. She was not prey. He did not know what she was. But as the second moon began to sink toward the horizon, he was beginning to fear the answer. The Vraxith made camp on a rocky hill as the second moon set. 3 hunters remained. Kravix, his son Threx, and a young hunter named Vorn. The wounded one had died from blood loss before they could reach the ship, for dead. 1 human with 10 bullets and a knife had killed for trained Vraxith hunters. Kravix could not understand it. He sat in front of a small fire, staring at the flames. His son paced behind him, angry and afraid. Vorn checked his weapons again and again, jumping at every sound from the jungle below. "We should call for more hunters," Threx said. "This prey is different." "No." Kravix's voice was hard. "We do not call for help. We have never called for help, father. She killed 4 of us, 4. I know what she killed." Kravix touched the bones on his belt. 42 species, thousands of hunts. He had never lost more than 1 hunter on a single prey. Now he had lost 4 to a creature that weighed less than half of what he did. He activated the computer on his wrist and searched for information about humans. There was not much. They were a young species, barely able to travel between stars. They had no natural weapons, no claws, no fangs, no armor. They were slow runners, weak fighters. They should have been the easiest prey in the galaxy. But the information did not tell the whole story. Miles away, Maya was eating. She had found some kind of fruit that did not make her sick. It tasted terrible, but it filled her stomach. She needed energy for what came next. As she ate, she thought about her species, about what made humans different. Most predators in the universe were ambush hunters. They hid, waited, and attacked in one quick burst of violence. If they missed, they gave up and tried again later. Humans were not like that. Humans were persistence hunters. In the old days, before tools and technology, her ancestors had chased their prey. Not fast chases, slow ones. They would follow an animal for hours, sometimes days. The animal would run, but humans would keep walking. The animal would hide, but humans would find it. Eventually, the animal would be too tired to run anymore, and then the humans would kill it. No claws, no fangs, no armor. But humans had something better. They had endurance. They had patience. They had the ability to keep going when every other creature would have stopped. And they had something else, something darker. Humans held grudges. Maya thought about the hunters who had killed her friends on Titan Colony. She thought about the 19 days she had spent in those tunnels, cold and hungry and alone. She thought about the things she had done to survive. One of the corporate soldiers had begged for his life at the end. He had said he was just following orders. He had a family, children. Maya had killed him anyway, not because she had to, because she wanted to, because he had been part of the group that murdered her friends, because humans did not forgive. Humans did not forget. Now she was going to teach the Vraxith what that meant. She finished eating and started working. She had found a thick oil in some of the glowing mushrooms. It burned well. She had spent hours collecting it, filling containers she had made from large leaves. The Vraxith camp was on a hill. They thought they were safe there. They could see anything coming from below. But they could not see what was already above them. Maya had climbed a cliff on the far side of the hill. It had taken hours. Her hands were bleeding. Her muscles burned. But she did not stop. She would never stop. She reached the top as the third moon rose. From here, she could see the camp below. 3 hunters around a fire, their weapons stacked nearby. They were tired, afraid. They were not sleeping, but they were not watching either. She poured the oil down the cliff face. It ran in thin streams, spreading across the rocks, pooling in the cracks. The Vraxith did not notice. The oil was the same color as the wet stone. Then she took out her knife and struck it against a rock. Sparks flew. The oil caught fire. The hill became a torch. Flames raced down the cliff and spread across the rocks toward the camp. The Vraxith screamed and grabbed their weapons, but the fire was everywhere. It surrounded them. It blocked their escape. Maya came down the cliff through the flames. The fire burned her arms and legs, but she did not care. Pain was just information. Pain meant she was still alive. Vorn saw her first. He raised his plasma rifle, but his hands were shaking. He had never been hunted before. He did not know how to be prey. Maya shot him twice. Chest and head. 7 rounds left. Threx ran at her with his claws out. He was fast, faster than she expected. One of his claws caught her shoulder and tore through her uniform into her flesh. She fell back, rolled, and came up with her knife. He was bigger, stronger, better armed. She was meaner. She ducked under his next swing and drove her knife into his knee. He fell, screaming. She climbed onto his back and put the knife to his throat. "Tell your father something for me," she whispered. Then she cut. 6 down. 1 left. Kravex watched through the flames as the human killed his son. He watched her stand up, covered in blood that was both purple and red. He watched her pick up her knife and look directly at him. She smiled. It was not a human smile. It was something older, something that came from the deep past of her species, from the days when her ancestors had chased animals until their hearts exploded, from the nights when they had sat around fires and planned the next hunt. It was the smile of a predator. "Run," Maya said. "It makes the kill sweeter." She threw his own words back at him. Kravex ran. He ran through the burning jungle, his armor heavy on his back. He ran until he could not hear the fire anymore. He ran until his legs burned and his lungs screamed for air. Then he stopped and sent a message to his fleet. He told them what had happened. He told them about the human who would not die. He told them about his son, about his hunters, about the mistake they had made. The reply came quickly. Mockery, disbelief, a single human female with primitive weapons. They thought he was joking. They thought he was mad. They ordered him to finish the hunt or die with honor. Kravix stood alone in the alien darkness and knew the truth. He was not the hunter anymore. He was the prey, and somewhere in this jungle, the human was coming for him. Huntmaster Kravix had not slept in days. He moved through the jungle like a wounded animal, his plasma rifle always ready, his eyes scanning every shadow. The human was out there. He could feel her watching him, but every time he turned to look, there was nothing, just the jungle, just the rain, just the endless darkness. His armor was heavy. His legs were tired. His mind kept showing him images of his son dying, of that human woman standing over the body with blood on her hands, and that terrible smile on her face. She had killed 6 Vraxith hunters, 6 of the best warriors his species had ever produced, and she still had bullets left. She still had that knife. He tried the communicator again. Still no response from his fleet. They had stopped answering after his last report. They probably thought he was dead. They probably did not care. The Vraxith did not rescue failed hunters. That was the rule. Success or death. There was nothing in between. Kravix found a cave and went inside. It was small and dark, but at least nothing could sneak up behind him. He sat with his back against the wall and his rifle pointed at the entrance. He would wait here until the 3rd moon set. Then the hunt would be over. The rules said so. But deep inside, he knew the rules did not matter anymore. The human did not follow Vraxith rules. She made her own. Hours passed. Nothing happened. The silence was worse than noise. At least noise told you where the danger was. Then he heard it. A sound, not loud. Just a small scraping noise, like a knife on stone. Kravix aimed his rifle at the cave entrance. Nothing there. The sound came again. From outside. From everywhere. From nowhere. He stepped out of the cave with his weapon raised. The jungle looked the same as before. Dark, wet, empty. Then he saw the tree. Someone had carved words into it. The marks were fresh. The pale wood bright against the dark bark. The words were in Vraxith, but written badly, like a child had done it. I am coming. Kravix's blood went cold. She had been here. While he was hiding in the cave, she had been right outside. She could have killed him. Instead, she had left a message. She was playing with him. He ran. He did not know where he was going. He just ran. The jungle blurred around him. Branches hit his face. His feet slipped in the mud. He did not care. He had to get away. He had to reach the shuttle. He had to escape this planet and this nightmare. Another tree. Another message. Still coming. He changed direction. Ran faster. His hearts were pounding so hard he could hear them. His lungs burned. He was the greatest hunter of his generation. He had killed 42 species. He did not run from prey. But this was not prey. This was something else. He burst into a clearing and stopped dead. There were skulls arranged in a circle on the ground. Vraxith skulls. She had collected them from his fallen hunters and brought them here. In the center of the circle was a small pile of empty bullet casings. She was counting, showing him how many shots she had used, how many she had left. The message was clear. She had bullets to spare. She was not running low. She was not desperate. She was confident. Kravix felt something break inside him. He had hunted hundreds of creatures. He had seen them all react the same way when they realized they could not win. They begged, they hid, they tried to bargain. He was doing the same thing now. He was acting like prey. The thought made him angry. Hot, burning anger that pushed away the fear. He was Vraxith. He was a hunter. He would not die running like a scared animal. He turned around and faced the jungle. Come out. He roared, face me. Fight me. I am Huntmaster Kravix. I have killed 42 species. I do not fear you. The jungle was silent. Then, from somewhere in the darkness, a voice answered, 42 species. The human's voice was calm, almost friendly. That is impressive. But you have never hunted a human before. Kravix spun, trying to find the source of the voice. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. She was moving as she spoke, never staying in one place. "What makes you so special?" he demanded. "You are small, weak, you have no claws, no armor. You should be easy prey." "Yes," she agreed. "We should be, but we are not." "Why?" The word came out almost like a plea. "Because you do not understand what we are." She stepped out of the shadows. She was covered in mud and dried blood. Her uniform was torn. Her arms were burned. But she stood straight, and her eyes were bright. "My species spent a million years becoming what we are," she said. "We started with nothing. No claws, no fangs, no venom. Every predator on our world was stronger than us, faster than us, more dangerous than us." She took a step closer. Kravix raised his rifle. "We killed them all," she said. "Every single one. We hunted them until they were extinct. We turned their bones into tools and their skins into clothes. We did not do it because we were powerful. We did it because we refused to stop." Another step. Kravix's finger tightened on the trigger. "You think hunting is about strength, speed, superior weapons. But it is not." Her voice was hard now. "Hunting is about one thing: the will to continue when everything tells you to stop. The refusal to accept defeat. The absolute certainty that you will win, no matter how long it takes or what it costs." She was close now. Too close. He should shoot. Why was he not shooting? "You have been hunters for 10,000 years, Maya said. "You are very good at it. But you made one mistake." "What mistake?" She smiled that terrible smile again. "You picked a prey that spent a million years learning to be better." Kravix fired. Maya was already moving. She had watched him for days. She knew his patterns, his reflexes, the tiny movements he made before he pulled the trigger. She was inside his guard before the plasma bolt hit the ground where she had been standing. Her knife found the gap in his wrist armor. His rifle fell, but Kravix was not finished. He swung his claws at her face. She ducked, rolled, came up behind him. He turned, fast, and caught her with a backhand blow that sent her flying. She hit a tree and fell. Blood ran from her nose. Her ribs screamed in pain. But she got up. She always got up. "The shuttle," she said, wiping blood from her face. "Tomorrow, when the third moon sets, I will be there." Then she disappeared into the jungle, leaving Kravix alone with his pain and his fear. The hunt was almost over, but not the way the Vraxith had planned. The third moon was setting when Maya reached the shuttle. It sat in a clearing on the edge of the jungle, a sleek black ship with sharp angles and weapon ports. The Vraxith hunting vessel. Cameras on its hull recorded everything, sending footage back to the fleet in orbit above. Kravix was waiting for her. He stood in front of the shuttle's ramp, his plasma rifle replaced with a long blade. His armor was scratched and dented. His scales had lost their shine, but his eyes still burned with the fire of a warrior. "You came," he said. Maya stepped out of the tree line. She was empty-handed. No pistol, no rifle, just the knife in her belt. "I told you I would." Kravix looked at her hands. "Where is your gun?" "I left it in the jungle." Maya stopped about 20 feet from him. "For rounds still in it. You came to fight me with just a knife?" "Yes." Kravix made that grinding sound again. But it was not laughter this time. It was something else. Respect, maybe. Or confusion. "Why?" he asked. "You could have shot me from the trees. You could have ended this easily." Maya nodded toward the cameras on the shuttle. "Because they are watching. Your fleet. Your species. They are seeing everything right now." Kravix understood. "You want them to see you beat me. I want them to see what humans are." Maya drew her knife. "I want them to understand what they woke up when they took me. I want them to know that we are not prey. We have never been prey. And anyone who hunts us will learn that lesson the hard way." Kravix raised his blade. It was longer than her knife, curved and glowing faintly with energy. "One cut would kill her. You are brave," he said. "Stupid, but brave. I will make your death quick. You can try." They circled each other slowly. The sun was starting to rise behind the mountains. Golden light spilled across the clearing. The cameras recorded every movement. Kravix attacked first. He was fast for his size, his blade cutting through the air in deadly arcs. Maya dodged, ducked, rolled. She was smaller and quicker, but she could not match his reach. Every time she got close, his blade forced her back. He cut her arm, then her leg, then her side. Small wounds, but they added up. Blood soaked through her torn uniform. "You are losing," Kravix said. "You should have used your gun." Maya did not answer. She was watching him, learning him. She had spent 3 days studying how Vraxith moved, how they thought, where they were strong and where they were weak. Kravix had a pattern. When he attacked high, he left his left side open for half a second. Not long enough for a normal fighter to exploit. But Maya was not normal. She waited for the next high swing. When it came, she did not dodge. She stepped into it. His blade cut her shoulder, deep. Pain exploded through her body. But she was inside his reach now, too close for his weapon to work. Her knife found the soft spot under his arm, where no armor covered him. She pushed it into the handle. Kravix roared and stumbled back. Purple blood poured from the wound. His blade fell from his fingers. He dropped to his knees, one hand pressed against his side. Maya stood over him. Her own blood dripped onto the ground. Her vision was blurring. She had lost too much, but she stayed standing. "I was the greatest hunter of my generation," Kravix said. His voice was weak now. "Wet. I killed 42 species." 42, Maya agreed. "And now one of them has killed you." She did not strike the final blow. Instead, she turned to face the cameras. "My name is Sergeant Maya Chen of the United Earth Ship Constellation." Her voice was clear despite her wounds. "Your hunters took me from my ship. They gave me 10 rounds and a knife. They thought it would be easy prey." She held up her knife. Purple blood dripped from the blade. "I have 4 rounds left." She let that sink in. 4 rounds unused. She had killed 6 hunters and barely needed her gun. "We are humans," she continued. "We are a young species, small, weak, no natural weapons. But we have something you do not understand. We have 2 million years of evolution that made us the most dangerous animals on our world. We do not stop. We do not surrender. We do not forget." Behind her, Kravix collapsed. He was still breathing, but not for long. "Your hunt master is dying. His son is dead. His team is dead. I am still standing. And I want you to remember something." She looked directly into the camera. "I was alone. I had almost nothing. Imagine what happens when you face 1 million of us. Imagine what happens when you face 1 billion. Imagine what we will do if you ever come for our families, our homes, our world." The sun was fully up now. Golden light made her look like something from an old legend. A warrior covered in blood, standing among the bodies of her enemies. "Do not hunt humans again. We are not prey. We are not trophies. We are the species that killed everything that tried to kill us. And we will do the same to you." She turned back to Kravix. He was looking up at her with his yellow eyes. The fire was gone from them now. There was only pain and something that might have been understanding. "You were a good hunter," Maya said quietly. "But you hunted the wrong thing." She finished him with a single stroke. Then she walked up the shuttle ramp, sat in the pilot seat, and set a course for the nearest human station. The footage spread across the galaxy within days. Every species saw it. The young human woman with her knife and her 4 unused bullets. The bodies of the Vraxith hunters. The final speech that sounded like a warning and a promise. The Vraxith fleet withdrew from human space. They never hunted humans again. Neither did any other species. The galaxy had always seen humans as young and weak, easy targets, potential prey. Now they saw the truth. Humans were not the newest addition to galactic society. They were the oldest predator in the universe, wrapped in soft skin and taught to smile. They had spent 2 million years learning how to kill anything that threatened them. They had wiped out every species on their planet that competed with them. And they had done it with rocks and sticks and pure stubborn refusal to die. Maya Chen became a legend, not because she was special, but because she showed the galaxy what any human could do when pushed far enough. She trained soldiers for the rest of her life. She taught them everything she knew about survival, about fighting, about the will to continue when all hope was gone. "We are humans," she would tell them. "We are the species that looked at wolves and said, 'These will be our friends.' We are the species that looked at fire and said, 'This will be our tool.' We are the species that looked at the stars and said, 'These will be ours.' She would smile then. That same smile she had shown Kravex in his final moments. We are not prey. We are not predators. We are something worse. We are humans. And we never, ever give up. The galaxy remembered Dot, and they learned to be afraid.